welcome to another episode of Lesbian Talk!
Stop it!
I could have gone for longer.
You could have, but like now everyone has stopped listening to the episode. Like, oh fuck this noise.
Literally.
Yeah,
Nearly.
pretty much. This is episode 25.
Yeah, the
25.
noise part was literal, but the fucking it was not. Although there was an episode of Brass Eye where they got a celebrity who was credulous to claim that a pedophile had sexually assaulted a child with a penis-shaped sound wave. So, fucking with sound waves.
Was that the show that we saw?
Yeah, Brass Eye, yeah, I introduced you to that show. Taking the piss out of hysteria.
That's pedophile mania. I don't know.
But, yeah.
So, you're in the same country as me right now, which is why our sound quality is amazing. I suppose it's not.
It's always amazing. Amazingly. But, well, it's amazingly what we want it to be.
Sure, we can go with that. But, so, the word from last week was sardonic.
Apparently that's me.
Yeah, it's humorous in a grim or sarcastic way.
In a grimoire? Are you talking about a book?
No, a grim or sarcastic way.
Funny if it was like a sarcastic book.
It would be like a smart aleck book, like wah 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 wah.
You're not fucking read me. You're not good enough to read me. Yeah.
It would be like one of the Alive books from Harry Potter.
Bites you.
I've had books that bit me before, but that was working at the bookstore. And actually, we have a thing that when we straighten at the end of the night, you try not to touch every book. You don't really need to, because a lot of times everything is fine, and then you touched it. If a book's faced out, it might fall. Like we had this huge coffee table book called Lands of the Bible, and it was in obviously religion, and so it was faced out. Like 5 copies were faced out on the top shelf, and I just flattened it a little bit. Well, that tipped its point of gravity, so as I bent down to go to the lower ones, it fell on my head. I was like, ah! And then I looked up, and then the next one fell on me, and I said, ah! And then I covered my head, and then the rest of them fell. And then
it was vaguely similar to the first scene of Ghostbusters.
Well, so then
without the roar.
Well, one of the people I was working with heard me holler, and they came running and said, what happened? I said, I was smoked by Holy Lands of the Bible. They were like, is that a sign? I'm like, yeah, I shouldn't touch every damn book, like Brendan told me.
But anyway, on to sardonic. This is just a fancy word for sarcasm, isn't it?
Ish.
So,
but it's sarcastic or grim.
It's such a really interesting book that makes me feel like grimness. There we go. I have just personified it.
I don't think you did a very good job, right? No, it's like, I guess if you make it like a dark humorous joke, or you're like, oh, that could have been worse. You could have hung by the neck until dead.
Well, yeah, most things does have that as a slightly worse. Yeah.
No, but your humor does trend a little bit dark sometimes.
Well, yeah.
Sometimes, every day.
I receive a lot of shit. It happens as a side effect.
Hey, instead of every day you're shuffling, every day you're sardonic.
Sardonic. Have you seen that video if they replace the music with the music from Star Wars?
Oh, the Cantina Band? I have not been able to.
They actually line up perfectly. I've seen the video. It's amazing.
You know what? I hate to say this. I really love mashups. Like, if it's done really cleverly. I think the first one I heard was... Now you're going to look for it, aren't you?
Yeah, I'll show you later on, though.
Oh, okay. But I think the first one I heard was way back in the day. I was on ytmnd.com, which is you'rethemannow.com, which if you are young in the internet, you've never heard of it. It was kind of like the other meme generator. Like, it was YTMND and 4chan. So, if you have time, check it out. I'm sure my stuff is way long gone, because this was at least a decade ago that I was on there. But the first mashup I heard was, it was the theme from Kirby 64 with Drop It Like It's Hot. And it was great, because it's like the Happy Kirby and then you hear Snoop Dogg, and it's really great. And I was like, that's so really smart. And now everyone makes mashup all the time, and so.
Well, with mashups, generally, I'm not a fan of them. I like some of them. There's like a DJ Shy Boy did an entire album of songs crossed with RuPaul dance songs. Some of them I really like RuPaul Get Your Rebel Yell On, which is Get Your Rebel On crossed with Rebel Yell, which is great. I also am a big fan of AC/DC, Thunderstruck crossed with the Ghostbusters theme, Thunderbusters.
Well, I think on a more aesthetic level, or a more technical level, I think it's awesome because I like to play with sound editing and, with Audition and everything, but I really wish I had the ability to do that. Like, when I was in high school, I played trumpet and trombone, and I was in all the music stuff, but I was really just playing the notes. I never really had the raw musical talent that all the people I hung out with did, and I always felt kind of, self-conscious about it, a little bit insignificant. And I'm like, you know what? I really wish I had the talent to do mashups like David Scott Jr. He does mashups, and
yeah,
I think
he's going to be on the show actually.
We have to set up a interview.
We're not sure when, but he will be.
So if you're listening, I'll ping you on RDA tonight.
Yeah.
But
So maybe next week.
Yeah, that's true. We could set that up. But it's just I think it's really cool, and I saw a mashup on Facebook the other day that was Gangnam Style and Cotton Eye Joe, and it actually worked surprisingly well.
I would love someone to do a mashup of Lecture Bitch with my current urban gothic type theme, because I've tried several times to do an intro which mixes the two, and I've never managed to get the music to mix at all well.
You should have a dubstep remix of Lecture Bitch.
Because I don't have the technology to do audio mixing, but if someone else can do that, and if it's good, and if the beats sort of work together to make editing, an interesting intro, I will use that for season 5.
There you go. You heard it live.
I really want to retire the urban gothic theme. I was trying different things
because Lecture Bitch is so much better. Like, I downloaded it on my phone, like when we were first talking, like that summer, in autumn and stuff like that. And then I was cleaning, like usually I was closing cafe. When I was cleaning cafe, I would have my iPod on, or my iPhone, and whenever Lecture Bitch came on, I would have it. Or sometimes I'd be doing dishes in the back, or like restocking the freezer, and I'd be like, it's not one of those songs that you can sing in a melodic way if you're not screaming, but I'd try. And my friend's like, what are you singing? I'm like, nothing. This girl's awesome in the room, just saying.
Well, with one of the reasons I switched over was, I wanted to, the urban gothic, the main reason was I wanted to be a warning about the show rather than just another sort of rock song, because the urban gothic theme is uncompromising. And
it was uncompromising in its musical.
Well, the song, it's very unmelodic, and it's like it's designed so that, not to be liked.
It's the kind of thing that you'd think was really cool, and I'd be like, that's nice, honey.
Well, I do think it's cool.
Wow, vomiting.
And I know everyone prefers Lecture Bitch. Lecture Bitch is a better song. It's a much better song. Unfortunately, the editing, it doesn't really
because Lecture Bitch is Hagen. It's just like the story of her life.
It doesn't quite lend itself to interesting editing for video for the.
Or maybe intro. Somebody could do not a techno, but they can put a better beat on it.
Well, if someone wants to mix the urban gothic one with Lecture Bitch and it sounds cool, please do. I will see about using it for the intro to the show. Or if someone wants to do a fan edit of how they think the intro to Lecture Bitch should go, if they've managed to crack how to make it look good that I didn't manage, please do it. I mean, I was trying all these weird things, like I got halfway through trying this thing. It wasn't working at all. I was trying to have All Hail the Lecture Bitch, the words through the entire bit of the intro, but using it, coloring it green, and then keying the green out like a green screen, and then having other visuals behind it and everything. I just couldn't make it work. But please, if you are good at that sort of thing, send things in, because I'm working on season 5 right now. I've got basic edits to the first 3 episodes.
If that's you, write the show.
Yeah, so I would like to rejig the intro for season 5.
You can make it an actual jig.
So if you have any ideas, send them in.
Yes. But we have 2 shout-outs to do, and one of the shout-outs kind of leads into what we're going to talk about next. The first shout-out is for our listener, Clarice, who, your friend, contacted us and said that you were having a rough time.
Yeah.
And your industry is doing poorly, but hang in there. Lesbians were behind you all the way. Don't despair. And you know what? If you ever need a job, bookstores. It's not glamorous. It's not a lot of money. But if you need a job in a pinch, apply at a bookstore.
The people who work there are apparently very loyal.
But anyone, if you're listening and you know Clarice, or even if you don't, just spare her a good thought.
Yeah, and just in case there's more than one Clarice who listens to us who have friends, just to make sure that you know who you're talking about, your friend Lord Crow.
Dun dun dun. That was kind of not as dramatic as I made it sound.
But the other one is Lori. We don't know we don't know your surname. We met her yesterday at Philly Pride.
That was only yesterday, wasn't it?
Yeah, we were just wandering through. It was near the start of the day. We'd got there early, so it was probably before 1 o'clock. We were wandering, through the area, which was later crammed full of people watching the stage.
The Penn's Landing Festival.
Yeah, Penn's Landing, and wandering through, and then we were just walking, minding our own business. I noticed that this, teenager was, she stared at me, and generally, I think that people are staring at me for negative reasons, and I was like, okay, someone's staring at me. I certainly did not expect it to be the sort of, oh, holy shit, that's a Z-list internet comedian.
What did she say? Because I was just going up the stairs and I didn't hear until I realized you weren't with me and I turned around.
What happened was when we were walking, and then, I just heard when I was a couple of feet away from her, that looked like the Amanda Hagen. And I just stopped, turned around and said, it is me. And that's how we started talking, and then you came down and was like, this
was not 5 minutes. 5 minutes after I said, I bet someone's going to recognize you. No, I don't think it's going to happen. No, I think it really will.
It's revenge for New Orleans when we went to the Grand Masquerade, and I said, I might get recognized, and you said, no, I won't. And then 5 minutes later, I was recognized.
Well, also, if there's some hitches in the audio, there's a strong thunderstorm moving through, so if that happens, I can't help that. Take it up with God, so.
We might lose power, but I think we can still record.
Yeah, if we lose power, it'll just drop to battery, so we can finish, but we won't be happy. But, so, let's talk about Philly Pride, because we teased it last episode.
Mm-hmm. It was my first Pride in the United States of America. And it was... It was fun. We didn't get to see the parade, unfortunately.
Yeah, apparently it started late, and there was all these other things, and then,
Yeah, we're not entirely sure when it started. We were supposed to film parts of it, for Megan's friend Sam, who was going to be marching it, but then he decided not to march because it was 3 hours late.
Yeah, I think it was some kind of logistics, I don't know. He said it's gay standard time, so of course it's going to be late.
Yeah, so we hung around the shops all day, and managed not to spend an incredible amount of money, even though it was definitely
tempting. There was a lot of really cool stuff, like really cool T-shirts and jewelry. A lot of really neat stuff, and there were a lot of organizations that had booths there. We did see Children's Hospital, CHOP of Children's Hospital, Pennsylvania. They are really great people. They had a board there, encouraging people to talk about diversity, because they help children of all stripes. And interesting thing about them, they saved my eyesight. When I was a little teeny toddler, I was born with my fourth optic nerve was paralyzed, and my parents and doctors realized this, when I was about 2 or 3, and it took a series of 4 operations at Children's to correct them to the level they are now. And so everything about Children's Hospital is awesome, and if you have an opportunity to support them, please do.
Yes.
The thunder rumbles in the distance, so God agrees.
Yeah, God either agrees or doesn't agree, or
that's just Children's nature. Hospital. How dare you interfere with the children that I want to kill? It's part of my plan.
Or possibly it's just nature.
Yeah.
And we got to make out in front of the preacher.
We did. There was some. Everyone was like, "There's protesters." We were like, "Protesters," but it was pathetic. There was only 7 of them,
and 2 of them on the edges. I think they might have been security.
Yeah. Well, what happens is the Philly Police Department, they do assign a police detail to protesters just to make sure nothing gets out of hand. So there were some cops just standing around, like, leaning on the rail, but they didn't seem too interested. But they had a sign, and he was standing on a milk carton, for Christ's sake, and he had a microphone.
He was on a soapbox.
No, almost. But he had a microphone and he had 2 amps, but really he couldn't project, so he didn't have much. You know how you'll hear the preachers and and then there was the fire and things and stuff and they'll be all epic. No, he didn't. He was just kind of and you're thinking about sin, and not sin wicked. and things. I'm like, no, if you're gonna go for it, fucking go for it. Be like, and you will be damned into the pits of hell.
I really wished I had a massive sign so I could just stand beside them with citation needed written on it.
Well, I want to hear, I want to hear freaking I want to hear Foghorn Leghorn, if there's gonna be somebody protesting.
Yeah, it's one sign that it's...
I want goddamn Colonel Sanders up there, with the pound of the Bible. Not this little milk toast. And then we saw him later. We left Pennsylvania the other way because we wanted to go to Franklin Fountain. He was walking back the other way with the Bible. I was like, there he is. I was like, you need to speak up next time.
Yeah,
and he gave me a look.
That was fucking bizarre. Where was he going?
I don't know. I think he was going to try to sneak in the other way, which was not going to go well for him because there was you have to pay to get in. It's like $10 because they do rent out the whole Penn's Landing park there, which I know some people have issues about paying for Pride. I never do, but so they check your wristband. So I don't know what he thinks was going to happen, but
some people being mean.
Yeah. So well, so then our friends had just got there. My best friend and her husband. And so I had this great idea, like, let's go make out in front of them. And I was like, you guys film. We're going to be exhibitionists.
And hopefully if the video is good, it will end up We're doing a video about Philly Pride for Project Million, so hopefully that'll be in there.
Yeah, I didn't see how she framed the shot, so hopefully that went through all right.
Yeah, but even if it's not good, we can sort of put it up on our own YouTube or Blip or something, and, just being all like, oh my god, and tagging annoying Christians.
Yeah, we got to troll people. I usually don't get to troll people. The last time I did was when you did the crossover with Doug and Holly yelled at me. So
I think you also trolled people whenever we had the preacher outside the Natural History Museum.
Yeah, but I was kind of like trolling to the microphone. There was no personal risk to me.
We were yelling at him.
Yeah, that one was pretty funny.
I did yell at him that he'd converted to Satanism. That was
It
funny.
was just so weird. It was so random, that guy, because then he just walked away. I think he was a tourist. I don't know.
He was picked up by his wife or something.
I don't know what suddenly moved him to make a spectacle of himself.
Yeah, well, it was okay, dear, I'm going off to get lunch in the Native American Museum because they do very nice fry bread. You have an hour now to yell and make an idiot of yourself, and then we have to go and look at the Air and Space Museum. And
I don't know what he was even getting pissy about. Nicola said she overheard she thought it was about evolution, which is kind of too late to protest because it's already happened.
And it's continuing to happen.
Ship kind of sailed on that one, guys. But I don't know. It's like, how you talk about that Jerusalem syndrome where people go to the Holy Land and they think they're a Messiah? Maybe there's a syndrome where people go to D.C. and they feel the need to protest.
Maybe they... possible. Maybe they go to a thing that features evolution and feel the need to yell about their idiocy.
Well, it's everything around you features evolution. Every biological thing.
I'm going to go to a planetarium and yell about that. Geocentrism is a way to go.
Whoa.
The sun does not.
Actually,
He's interrupting the solar system. Yeah, it is.
There was some preacher that just had a thing that was posted on Joe My God today that apparently it's Jesus holding together atoms in a molecule.
Oh yeah, I've come across those.
Each single one, which must be pretty sucky. It's worse than Atlas holding up the Earth. But so there was some good food. There's always good. There's fair food, really.
Yeah, it was interesting. I have to say, almost everywhere had hot dogs and funnel cakes and a couple other things.
You got some funnel cakes
and chicken tenders and stuff.
And you were a hot mess eating the funnel cake.
There was that's in the video, hopefully. That there is one. There was one place that was doing interesting stuff. It had fish and chips, and chicken burgers. It had empanadas. But if that place had been open whenever we were getting a meal thing earlier, I would have totally got some fish and chips, because some American fare fish and chips that would likely be terrible, and I would want to try that. But we tried some empanadas, we had funnel cake, and they said it was frozen lemonade, but it was more like lemonade slushy.
Well, because it was so hot, by the time you got it.
Still, if they advertised it as frozen, I was disappointed.
Oh, I didn't get you any water ice. Was you going to get water ice?
Yeah, but then you said, I thought you wanted water ice, and I was like, no, I'll get some lemonade.
Oh, okay.
So, it was fine. Then we got to get the Franklin Fountain. If you're anywhere near Philly, dude, Franklin Fountain.
Second Market.
Really, really, really good ice cream parlor.
Well, there was one small snag. That's how we know we're officially part of the conman team, because of course something had to go wrong. is the fact that I don't go out ever, so I kind of forgot the sun is a thing. And it had been like really cloudy that morning, and they said there was going to be sporadic rain. But then the second we got in the city, there was huge, bright, hot sunshine, and I kind of ended up with sun poisoning, a little teeny bit. So just
I didn't know it was sun poisoning, but I'm red.
You almost collapsed when we were in the
Yeah,
Franklin Fountain.
There wasn't so much to do with the sun directly. That was to do with exertion and heat.
Oh, okay.
Whenever we were in the Franklin Fountain,
we're in a line like a million people deep because, of course, we weren't the only people with that idea.
Yeah, well, it's good ice cream. And it hadn't happened in many years, but if I really overexert myself generally in the heat, I feel woozy. I feel like I'm gonna collapse. I feel like the world is not quite real. So I went off and sat down where I was basically feeling as though I was shaking and the world was, falling apart or something.
It was really scary because she says, I'm feeling woozy. I'm like, well, let's get you out of here. No, here. And like presses the money into my hand. You order. And then like runs away. And I was like, and then it was my turn. I was like, I'd like this, please. And then I had to wait in line because I couldn't extract myself from the line. And it was just.
But I found a chair on the outside. If I hadn't found a chair, I would have sat on the floor on the.
I would have advocated that idea.
Oh yeah, it was okay. We almost missed our train because of idiocy, but
oh my gosh, well, it was my idiocy.
No, it wasn't your idiocy. It was my idiocy for not going off and leaving. Wanting ice cream and stuff.
We made the train, although we like freaking booked it through Suburban Station, and we only made it because the train was running 3 minutes late.
Yeah, which was lucky for us. But Suburban Station, apparently, platform 4 is really hard to fucking find.
And we were like running. It was horrible, and like I'm like disgusting, and we're all sweating and red faced, and I sat down on the train, in the nice air conditioning train, the SEPTA train, and I was just like, I'm gonna die. And then you were like, you rest, you sleep. And I'm like, no, can't sleep, might die.
But until that,
and then she was like, give me your phone so I can check Twitter.
When you were, I wanted you to sleep. So
well, you have a heart attack. I'm gonna check Twitter.
You don't have a heart attack. I want you to sleep. It was fun until then, and I bought a book on queer history of the United States, which I've had a little look through. It does suggest that there's some sort of romantic friendship between Washington and what do you call him? The guy who designed stuff.
Benjamin Franklin?
No, the architect.
Oh, I don't know.
French dude.
Dupont?
No, the guy who designed Washington D.C.
Oh, Longpont?
Yeah.
Okay.
Although they do point out that that was quite common at the time for men to have very strong romantic feelings for each other and just basically very strong friendships that were like that. So, but
well, women had that in the Victorian era. It was called the Boston Friendship.
Yeah. Basically, as far as I can tell, the books, it takes mainstream history and it sort of puts it through a clear lens. Not saying this is definitely the case, but it's trying to make people think that it's less obviously straight when it might not be. They seem to have quite a lot of Walt Whitman, although they only have like.
He was boring, and he was so
also
annoying.
Very gay.
I don't care how gay he was. Well, we learned in school that he was bi, but. Like, I just had it with Walt Whitman. He's like, and things and stuff. I'm just like, oh, shut up.
I'm a little bit annoyed that, I even looked him up on at the very end, and the appendices, and Bayard Rustin gets 2 mentions in the entire book. 350 odd pages. It's like, Bayard fucking Rustin is the most important gay American, probably, of like, since the 1950s to 1980s.
Who's Bayard Rustin?
Bayard Rustin was Martin Luther King's Gandhi. Sorry,
oh yeah, his friend. Yeah, you were telling me.
He's the guy who introduced Martin Luther King to non-violence. He's the guy who organized the Million Man March. This openly gay communist in the 1950s South.
Yeah, we don't talk about that much.
He was, yeah. It's an example of the homophobia of that's still in American society. He was drummed out of the civil rights movement basically because he was a PR liability. Every single area of history, no matter who's good in it, has negative bits. And the American civil rights thing, they treated Bayard Rustin, one of their guys, should be near deified by them.
What happened? What became of him in his life?
He died in the 70s, in the late 70s, basically after his feeling was that with the passing of the Civil Rights March, then for the rights, the African American, the fight that he was concentrating on, which was legal rights, was done, and he threw himself full into gay rights.
Oh.
Basically, as as the natural successor, he felt like Coretta Scott King, that gay rights were the next frontier after African American rights.
Well, good for him.
Oh yeah, very Rustin.
Good for you, buddy. I mean, not buddy, but you know what I mean.
One of my biggest personal heroes, and I really should have brought the documentary I have about him. I didn't bring it.
I would watch it.
Brother Outside, a really good viewing.
So watch that. But I mean, I know that surprisingly, not everyone that listens to our show are gay, lesbian, transgender, or bisexual, or anywhere on the spectrum of
queer,
intersex,
questioning
things and stuff,
undefined,
rainbows. But so if you're not, I mean, it's hard to try to describe what Pride is like, but close your eyes. Go with me for a moment. Close your eyes and try to imagine whatever it is you are most self-conscious about. Like, whatever that part of your body that you think, oh, it's so ugly, or oh, this looks fat, or whatever that thing that you're always self-conscious about, that you think about whenever you go out, or you think about, at night or in the mirror or something. Now, imagine if you went out and for some reason you knew with incredible certainty that nobody would care about it. And you realize for a moment, just like suppose there's a certain, street that you were on. Well, you're on this street, you don't have to worry that someone will look at you and be like, oh, fat, or someone will look at you and be like, oh, ugly, or, whatever that secret thing is about yourself that you are afraid of other people making fun of or finding out about. Imagine if you just didn't care about it. You didn't have to care. But you knew it was only when you're on that one street. And that's kind of what it's like being at Pride. It's like, alright, I ain't no size 6, that's for damn sure. And I ain't never been anything to look at. I'm a little short, fat dyke who looks like a kid. But, going there, you just see everybody. There's, people who are tall, short, disabled, able-bodied, young, old. There are elderly gays and lesbians who are like, oh, it's Pride, thank gosh. And just looking around everybody, people who are transgendered, people who are, there might be a straight man, but they're like, I'm a drag queen and it's great and I'm gonna be at Pride.
The world needs more straight drag queens.
Yeah, get on that. But you just look around and it's like for that time, everything is fine. And I think I said a few times we were eating some funnel cake. We were sitting on the rim of one of the fountains, and I just said, wouldn't it be great if the world was like this always? Like, you just don't have to worry, and like.
It'd be great for us. It would be less great for it's going to be possibly misconstrued, but it would be less great for straight people and people who like to act like straight people.
Well, no, it'll be fine for straight people because, I mean, if they were just people, like the straight people who just don't care, be like, oh, we'll be gay. But then it would also work in their favor too, because like if it's a straight woman who's like, oh, this part of me is fat, or I wish that the other women wouldn't look at me bad, or stuff like that, and guys wouldn't look at me bad, because if everybody was okay with everything, they wouldn't have to be afraid of that. They could just be.
I'm not saying that it would cause actual damage. What I'm saying is that certain people would feel the loss of privilege, and they would interpret that as an attack.
But it wouldn't be a loss of privilege because everybody would be able to enjoy the goodness.
Yes, the same. Whenever you are the powerful group, if things become equal and other people get just as powerful as you, that feels like an attack. This is why people oppose gay marriage, because the feeling that they have that gay marriage hurts them is entirely born out of the fact that other people are becoming equal to them.
Okay, so like on the East Coast it would be, maybe not where horrible people are.
People are not horrible based on geographic locations.
Yes, they are. No, I mean, I don't know.
But
I'm philosophizing.
I totally get what you're saying about Pride, about the positive, feeling of positivity and things. But you have to remember, the gay community can be incredibly judgmental on people.
Yeah, this is true.
Incredibly. I have gone to many prides, and I have felt self-conscious. I have felt worried. I have felt, the way that you're describing.
Did you feel like that yesterday?
No, because I was with you.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll protect you if anyone tries to mug us. I have steel-toe boots.
Like I was in Belfast Pride, and I was asked.
Yes, but in Belfast things randomly explode anywhere. I'd be nervous.
Well, this was Belfast Pride, and I was asked if I wanted to be in a photo with the quote unquote other drag queens.
Oh, were you like, excuse me, what?
So, you know,
Did you say something?
I can't remember. It was quite upsetting though. Just to say that not everyone's experience of Pride is going to be as universally wonderful as yours was yesterday.
Well, that's always how I feel whenever I go to something.
But on a lighter bit, Jujubee from RuPaul's Drag Race was there. I walked past her.
I wish we'd had a chance to set up an interview, but it looked like they were about to go on stage for something. So.
Yeah. Plus, when we got there, we thought about doing interviews, but honestly, the weather was so fucking hot. It was so loud. We don't have a decent external microphone or anything.
Well, I think next year we get one of those really schwanky things like what Rob has, and we can get one of them for my.
Yeah, if we can get something like that, that's good.
And then we can do
it was
better interviews.
Even with the microphone, given the physical conditions of it.
Well, it was right next to the river, and don't get me wrong, there was a beautiful breeze coming off the river, but it's also hard to capture, to capture audio. And also the fact that there was, loud dance music coming from the speakers that were everywhere.
Yeah, plus, just the sun and heat, it made it very difficult to function.
Yeah.
We could literally, we would sit in the shade for about 15 minutes, and then we would get up and walk up a few flights of stairs. By the time we got up to the top, we needed to sit down in the shade for the 15 minutes. It was very, very, very hot.
Well, actually, honey, I've been at Pride where it's hotter, so this actually was nice. Because it was in, the lower 80s, and there wasn't that much humidity. But I've been, if it was in, the upper 90s with humidity, people would have been dropping like flies.
Well, it was very hot by my
standards. That's why I didn't drink any alcohol, because you drink alcohol in the sun, it makes it even worse.
It's certainly warmer than any other Pride I've been to. I've been to London, Birmingham, and Birmingham, England, by the way, and Belfast, and I've marched in London Pride twice. Neither time was as warm as that, but marching for a mile or two in the heat, it's rough.
Yeah. Well, I know because was senior year, we went down to Disney to march in the marching band to march in the. They have a parade every day, and school marching bands always are coming into being in it. That fucking sucked. I remember thinking to myself, "Oh dear Jesus Christ, life will never get worse than this."
There's some guy dressed up as this purple monster thing, and
no, it was a purple. It looked like it was a purple inflatable version of the droid guy, the little.
Yeah, that guy must have had a rough time, unless they pumped in really cold air into that thing, and even then it would not last. It would not stay cold for long.
Yeah, he was there with the Metro PCS people, so I think they were selling planes. But...
Yeah, poor guys.
Poor guys. Again, if you hear badness in the audio, the rain just started. So.
Yeah. But
yeah, so I mean, I hope that we can go next year, and I'm really excited to go to Pride in the UK.
Yeah, there's quite a few prides around. I would love to go back to Birmingham Pride. Birmingham Pride, where when I was there, wonderful Moroccan food.
Ooh, I like Moroccan food.
Yeah. I think we have pretty much covered Pride, though. We have something else to do now.
We have Nanowar because we are halfway through the show.
There will be another repeat of Nanowar, unfortunately. If you have a song and your band's unsigned, please send it to us. It can be any genre. If someone's mentioned to me that they're going to try and send a song in, so I can't remember. I'm sorry, I can't remember who you are right now. But someone has said that they will. But other people, please, send us your stuff.
And we'll be like, it's them.
Yeah.
The famous ones, and you guys will be famous because you were on a podcast.
Anyway, Nanowar.
Because that's how that works.
That was Nanowar. I'd love to hear an easy listening or a jazz cover version of a Nanowar song. Skulls.
Really great. That was Johnny Skull with his neck.
Have I ever showed you the Chaser sketch about Cannibal Corpse?
No, but you can show me after the show.
I'm going to show you. Basically, they decided the Chaser, an Australian comedy troupe, and they were talking about the fact that Cannibal Corpse had been banned from Australia from touring because of their violent lyrics and stuff. So what they did was they got their group's music guy to do a lounge cover version of a Cannibal Corpse song called Rancid Amputation, and it's hilarious. Anyway, Omega has worked at a store for a while.
No, not yet.
Oh, what we doing first?
Ow, because he's pinching my toe. It's time for Giovanni's trivia fact. Not that we were gonna forget you or anything. Elbowing you in the side.
No!
Yeah, thanks. Just a critical part of the show, just to shove the lobster
You're
aside.
about as critical as... Hey, Giovanni, how old are you?
Actually, I'm 27.
I understood that lobsters don't die of old age, they just get bigger, and a 27-year-old should surely be slightly larger than the tiny size you are.
You have no idea the average size of a lobster.
Why are you red?
Because I was born red. What the hell is this? Okay, why are you white? Huh? Why are you white? Caucasian, mammal. Why you have hair on your head, mammal?
What makes the red lobster red? Someone please do a cover version of the Peter Pan song about that.
That's racist. So anyway, I thought we'd delve into some American history. Now, did you know that every single one of the U.S. presidents, except one, is somehow related to King John of England? It's true. Martin Van Buren is the only one who is not. I don't know why.
Yeah,
Maybe. You want to continue?
I was just going to point out that anyone who guessed that it was Obama was the one that wasn't simply because the skin color is, feeling the egg on their face right now.
Yeah, egg all over your mammalian faces. So anyway, I'm going to bugger off because I know when I'm not one of these. I'll see all you adoring fans next week.
I don't think he knows the right context for using the word bugger off.
Listen, I don't know why you have to antagonize him so much. I want you to get along. You all I have.
He knows I love him.
Yeah, whatever.
I'm terrible to people that I love.
You only hurt the ones you love.
Didn't you realize that, Shovel Face?
Are you calling me a sabat?
No, that's Shovel Head. I'm saying that your face looks like a shovel, and therefore demonstrating that I only insult the ones that I love.
That is the most obscure insult I've ever heard. Yeah, how's it going, Shovel Face? Is that like Leatherhead? I don't know. But anyway, now it's time to talk about how I work at a store. And if you're just joining us, if this is your first show, I have spent the past 9.5 years working at a large chain bookstore, and I have pretty much seen it all. And today is one of those stories. Now, this actually happened at my second store when I was down in DC. And the interesting part about this story is the situation caught my attention because of the politeness of the customer involved. So it was a Saturday night, and I was closing at information, so I was walking around picking up books, and there was a kid who looked like maybe he was like 8 or 9, maybe 10 at the most. And all day he was in different comfy chairs reading different piles of books, and I was like, oh, he's probably going to leave those books everywhere. But every time I came back, it looks like he'd gone and he put the books back and he got a new bunch. And so when we see a kid alone, we're not babysitters, so we're not going to be watching what kids are always doing, but it's good to keep an eye out. So I said, your parents are here, right? And he goes, yeah, my parents are here. I said, okay. So it's getting to be nearly time to close. And I told my manager, I said, that kid's still here. And I said his parents were in the store, but I don't know where they are. So she went over, and she said, are your parents here? And he said, oh, yeah, they're at Best Buy. And we were next door to a Best Buy. And she said, okay, all right, they're at Best Buy, so they better be coming back for you, right? He goes, yeah. And, we're like, oh, that's really great, leave the kid. Because a kid could get snatched. You never know. I mean, in this world, you never know. So about an hour passed, and it was time to close. And so we're closing. And he said, well, my parents they're in Best Buy. And so another bookseller walked by and said, wait a minute, Best Buy closed an hour ago. And so we said, well, where are your parents? And he just didn't answer. So we had to close the store. So apparently he had gone over to cafe and had been trying to buy one of the frozen strawberry lemonades. So my manager was like, will you just sit with him and I'll work this out? I said, okay. So I took him over to cafe and I bought him a strawberry lemonade. And my manager called the police. And the police said, he's a runaway. Hold him there. Don't let him leave the store. So an officer came and sat with him in cafe and talked to him for a while. And the kid was crying. And I'm not sure why he ran away. But the police officer left with him, and I'm assuming brought him back to his home. But it was a sad situation. I mean, I hope whatever caused him to run away was minor. you know, and or if it wasn't, that the officer was able to get him the help that he or his family needed. But at the same time, it's kind of tragically whimsical, because how like a small child to run away to a bookstore. I mean, it didn't show a lot of forethought because eventually we closed for the day, but he ran away to a bookstore and he spent the day reading books.
How old was he?
He wasn't younger than 7, but I don't think he was older than 10. It was hard to tell because
You could write a short story based on that concept.
I could.
Like, don't want to bring up a terrible film, but something like The Page Master, even like The Never in Australia, a small child runs away to a bookstore and has adventures, that are not actually real, but fantastical adventures involving different books.
Well, it'd have to be not exactly real because we do a thorough check of the store before we close for the night, just so no one gets left behind like that.
Well, yeah, like it's like during the day he like reads different books, and these all play into his imagination.
That's true. Speaking of imagination, you brought me a book.
Yes, I did.
Would you like to explain about this book, because I still don't have the words for it?
Okay. When I was younger, I watched a show called 40 on TV, and I recently discovered that the entire run, bar one episode, is on YouTube, and I sort of watched all the episodes again except for that one. And I was reminded of Alexandra Sellers, the very likely crazy woman who claims to have discovered the ancient human language that allows people to communicate with cats.
For reals, you guys.
Verbally. And she has written a book, A Beginner's Guide to Learning How to Speak Cat. But this includes cat legends that she was told by various cats that she had conversations with.
And you bought me this book. What'd you pay, like 1 pence?
1 pence and about £2 postage.
So, honey, what of the ancient veritable cat legends are you going to read for us today?
I am going to read the story of Brau and
with 2 A's, just
yes,
saying.
And I know I pronounced Brau right because that's how she pronounced the word.
I can't do that roll thing. That's why I didn't take Spanish.
So if there are any cats listening, I apologize for most of my bad pronunciation, but I'm fairly sure that Brau is quite right.
You heard it here live. A real reading of a book by a crazy person.
Yep. Now, the story of Brau and Brau liked to play tricks from an early age. He had 8 sisters and was always playing tricks on them and his mother. One night when Brau was sleeping after a day of tricks, his sister, took his testicles from him. She placed them on her own eating dish.
Wait. Alright, never, just go ahead. I can't.
In the morning she said to Brau, I have hunted and found some very tasty delicacies. Do not eat them, for they are only for me. Brau went to Ah's eating dish and ate up what he found there. Ah saw that the dish was empty. She laughed. You think you have tricked me, she said. Brau cleaned up his sexual parts in satisfaction after his meal. When he discovered that he had no testicles, he understood how Ah had tricked him. He laughed. He said, that is an excellent trick. Now I will trick others until I have played a trick as good as that one. And as good as the one that Ah has played on me. Every kitten born with one hair from Brau's pelt Every kitten born has one hair from Brau's pelt somewhere on her body. In this way, Brau is still playing tricks, and he will do so until he has invented a better trick than the one that Ah played on him. That is why, when a cat has played a trick, she says, Brau.
So, I've got a few questions. One of them being, I've had cats, and I've gotten them fixed. And from what I gather, it's kind of a process. Like, there's anesthetics and stitches and the cone of shame involved. How did this castration occur in the night by a kitten with no scalpel? And then he's like, I found some delicacies. They're totally not your testicles. It sounds like something that you would have done to, like, Owen Citizen in the course of a...
Yeah, I think I can totally see this happening in an episode. But...
And, like, how do you not... Okay, I don't have any balls, obviously, but, like... Guys, how do you not notice that? Like, wouldn't you? I think I would.
To be fair, this is a recreation of a legend, so it's not going to fit much in logic anyway.
Because you have to be...
Legends are fairly usually nonsensical.
Okay, well, even the Greek ones that I read as a little 5-year-old satisfied me enough. I was like, okay, well, that makes sense.
Remind me at some point to tell you the story of Finn McCool.
Well, no, Irish ones are cheating because you guys could be like, oh, it happened. That doesn't make sense. Yeah, because fairy magic. And then you're like, oh, what?
But she's even got, like, little bits, what's it called? Not end notes, the buttons at the bottom, footnotes about the story. And she, explaining that to read a version of the story. Okay, we have one of them saying that you go to chapter 3, you can read a version of the story in cat.
Well, there you go.
Which, explaining how do you pronounce it for the cats. So you could tell this story to your cat in cat. This book is called Spoken Cat, by the way. You can order it.
It's £1. Can people find it on regular Amazon, or do they have to go to?
I think it's an American book, so I'm fairly sure you can find it on .com.
Okay. And all the most of the blurbs in the back are in other languages, like Italian and stuff like that.
Yeah. This one that he had 8 sisters. They have a footnote about that. That they're actually going into the godhead of the cat, legendary, by saying that Brow is not actually part of the godhead, and that the cat gods are all female.
So does that make him like female by default because she took his testicles?
No, means he's a demigod, but he's not a Tom.
So of the cat pantheon, it is matriarchal in nature.
Yes.
Bet you didn't know that. Guys.
The Brow cleaned his sexual parts. The end note is footnote is the fact that Brow, and not one of his sisters who was shown in the act later given to humanity as the blessing of Robarrow, is insufficient grounds for suggesting, as dog fodder has, that it is not a ritual but only a joke played on a credulous humanity. If he cannot do better than this in his obsessive attempt to degrade what he cannot understand, perhaps he should move to an area of study that within his intellectual moral graft, if one can be found.
Who's dog fodder?
I have no idea.
Is it somebody on a forum?
I have no idea. But this might actually be, maybe she's also learned to communicate with dogs. I don't know.
Is this like, does she have like a crazy person counterpart that speaks to dogs?
Maybe.
Is it like Icon has cheeseburger and Icon has hot dog?
Maybe.
You guys, you need to research this for us.
They're also, she's also explaining where the hair from Brow is in most cats, which is around the forehead or the ears. Now, here we go. The location of the brow hair.
Oh, for Christ's sake.
Look.
She spelled it that way, you guys.
The location of the brow hair may sometimes be established through the fact that, as might be expected, it is a spot that needs frequent gentle scratching.
Which is pretty much everywhere in a cat, let's be honest.
Some cats say that when humans are stroking or scratching a cat, they are hunting the brow spot.
That sounds so dirty.
Although not one of the 9 blessings, which can only be performed by cats. Yes, there are 9 blessings that cats bestow on their owners.
Well, there you go.
This can be considered by cats to be a human activity, like the food offering, which confers a blessing on the human who performs it.
It's not really an offering so much as you don't want your cat to die. Oh, do we have any furries who are listening? If any of you are feline furries and you have some insight, write the show, because...
And the cat sound of brow is the equivalent of the English ha-ha.
Kippers has never made that noise.
Some say that whenever a cat laughs, it is because any joke reminds her of the first joke.
Is it like with Monty Python that they read in German and like the Germans are falling from the trees?
The joke that A played on Brow. Sometimes cats laugh when a human scratches their brow hair.
They're like, someone's gonna take my testicles.
That's page 120 and 121 of Spoken Cat and Relevant Factors in Worldview.
So say we are.
Including the full text of Einstein's Cat, delivered at the Annual Congress of Cat Studies, Birkenfeld, August 1996.
Oh god, we had to Google that and see what really happened, you guys.
This woman also claims to have discovered that that the bumps in cats' tongues help them lap up milk. She discovered this when she was 5, and she lays claim to that discovery in science.
There you go.
She claims to know 7 English and human languages.
Well, she might. Some people are polyglots.
Oh yeah, I'm just suggesting that.
It might that not be true.
But the 9 blessings are the blessing of Marau, which is the paw at the threshold, which entails
the
hovering.
paw at the threshold. That sounds like a Doctor Who.
This is a much misunderstood household blessing ritual, which entails hovering at an open door and crossing back and forth the threshold several times. You know what this is the cat not wanting to know if they want to go out or not.
Right.
This brings good luck in the household by opening the door or cleansing the path, and should ideally be performed once every 24 hours, more often as needed.
But Kippers does not go outside, so he never blesses nothing.
Humans do themselves no favors by inhibiting cats in the performance of the ritual. Then there's the blessing of
what is this? Are there's gonna be like Tea Party cats? Like, our religion's not being respected by humans.
There's the number 2 is the blessing of Robarrow, which is when the cat sits on their back and they lick their ass. She has explained this. Humans should not interfere with the cat performing this ritual, for example, demanding that a cat gets down from the bed to do it. Cats must choose specific times and places for such rituals, and human preferences in the matter generally are only going to be ignored.
No, because ignore all you like. I'm sorry, we've the opposable thumbs. So if Kippers is up somewhere, I'm like, get down from there. I can blow in his face and he'll go angry ears at me and jump down. Or I can shove his butt and gravity does the rest.
Well, but this one, I'm thinking this one has basically, you know how J.R.R. Tolkien took the English and sort of created their sort of myth, which became the Silmarillion, because the English original myth was lost because when they were conquered by the Romans and the Saxons and all.
Oh.
And he decided to write. He created Middle Earth basically as a way to create that myth.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and so I think this is what she's just taking all these real life cat things and trying to create a myth around it.
But
Which
I
is insane.
think she may be a crazy person.
Then there's the blessing of Pratru, which is kneading of the sofa.
What if you don't have one?
I don't know.
Well, is it also like, what kind of blessing is that? Because I stayed over my friend Melissa's house, and I slept on the couch in the basement where Kippers is staying with her. But she also has a little teeny black cat called Isis, who I call Meeper because she's all the time. But literally every 25 minutes on the dot for the entirety of the night, she leapt up on my chest, which was fine because she will just sit and purr. But that night she had this thing where she had to be kneading, and it was right on my boobs, which I'm sure, are nice and fluffy and everything because I'm not exactly a size 6, but that was not conducive to my sleeping. So I was like, get. Like, meow.
Then there's the blessing of Mrao, which is communing with Mao. This is the sleep ritual.
Chairman Mao.
And is the sleep ritual and among the most sacred cat observances. There is no explanation yet of why the phenomenon yet many people have noticed, whereby some cats regularly choose the same geographical location for the performance. Every single time she says location, she capitalizes C rather than L.
That's like people on the internet in the late 90s who would write with like every other letter capitalized, and that's not cool.
So sleeping is a religious blessing.
Is there one about the blessing of chewing on your hair in your sleep? Because I had a cat that did that.
Maybe. There's the blessing of Pritbro, presenting the tail. Cats expose the area directly underneath the tail to each other as an important expression of shared Maoness, because Mao is the name of their species, apparently.
I thought they were just sniffing butts, but that could have been it.
Humans who resent presenting of their anus for the ritual greeting merely expose their own lack of evolutionary potential. The proper evolved response is, of course, to place the nose to the anus and sniff, although many cats despair of the humans ever learning it.
Well, you know what? That sometimes people have to have their own culture and heritage. That's your culture and heritage, that's fine. I'm not going to get my nose literally into your business.
And then number 6, the blessing of Frau. Frau is the term...
Frau,
Frau is the term used to describe the sacred burial of food originally offered to Mao, which is passed through the cat digestive system. This is where they bury their shit.
That's so stupid because evolutionarily we know that that's not why.
It carries special resonance, which is when carried out in a garden that borders the garden when the cat is principally resident. Number 7, the blessing of Pew. Pew or rain. This ritual has been adduced by some scholars as evidence that at least one of... Oh, for fuck's sake. Aramarar offspring was male, involving extruding sacred cat substance onto plants and inanimate objects. Spraying.
So where is the
Aramawara.
Well, where does Ceiling Cat come into all of this?
I don't know. Then 8, the blessing of Mauprau. Mauprau invented... See, I can get the pronunciation.
I can't do that because I can't roll my R's like that. You're Celtic. You have it ingrained born.
Plus, I've seen an interview with the woman, so I know.
But I can't make that noise. That's why I had to take French instead of Spanish. I can't pronounce carne asada right.
Carne asada.
No,
Carne asada.
Yeah, I can't do that.
Mao Brau developed this ritual through close understandings of the story of Brau and the parrot, which I'm not going to read, called the pursuit of the apparently inanimate.
Apparently inanimate?
Such rituals as chasing bits of string and crumpled paper are actually necessary to destroy hostile entities which otherwise threaten human environment.
Like what, fairies?
I don't know. And number 9, the blessing of Aramarara or Prithvi, literally granting the offspring, which actually significance is the acceptance of an offering. Granting the offering is a ritual imposed on all cats who interface with humans. They are required to assess all human offerings of food to the goddess Mao for purity of content and intention. Only wholesome offerings which are deemed by the cat to be made from a pure heart may be accepted. An accepted offering confirms a blessing on the human being who has made it. But humans who resent a cat's rejection of their offering may be better engaged in focusing their own shortcomings. So if an impure offering accepted would offend Mao and risk bringing her rage down upon the human donor.
So what is this, man?
Cats sometimes don't give a shit about what you give them.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing. I have had a few cats in my day. Okay, my 33 years of life. And I know that, like, you know, that's the thing is, oh, well, cats are picky eaters. I have never had a cat that was a picky eater. Like, I've had cats I had one cat when I was very poor. So one week it might be deli cat, the next week it's Iams, the third week it's the store brand. You know, back before the whole scare about, you know, tainted pet food. But like, and I never had a cat turn up their nose at food.
Now, this book also features stuff about the cat words for different types of cats, as in, you know, by color, because apparently they don't use in breeds, just colors. But we have a list here of the list of informants, which are cats where she has got all this information from. But Johnny.
Are they gonna be strung up as traitors to the breed?
Possibly. A white neutered male with a smudge of black on the back of his forehead, of Siamese build, a generalist, as well as an oral historian of the cataclysm and the post-cataclysmic period.
Oh my Christ.
Cat history.
So wait, instead of like if the cat mafia finds them for divulging secrets, they can't sleep with the fishies, could they? Because cats are like that. They'll be like probably like have a stone tied around their paw and they'll be like tossed into the underground to sleep with the subway.
Yeah. There's Medico, there's Rufus, and you know you got all these really important sounding names. You got Fluffy, a black Fluffy. Black, she's the mother of Rufus, an authority in human historical figures and their cat mentors.
What?
Cats came from the planet Canopus in order to teach human beings. Yeah.
Like
the
Canopus,
star,
like
yeah,
pot?
No, Canopus.
Oh, that's not as funny.
The star Canopus. But they came, or it's either a star planet, I'm not even sure. But they came there to Earth to teach human beings so that we could reach our full evolutionary potential. They're aliens.
Okay, now I have read fiction where cats are intelligent and are from space. Here I'm thinking of Lovecraft, Doom that came to Sarnath. Well, not this, the Cats of Ulthar. There's a whole bunch of cats that figure prominently in the Dream Quest of Unknown Kadath. That's cool. This is stupid.
This is insane. Then there's other ones. There's Possum, a grey and black tabby partial to milk and lightly boiled salmon, an expert in all forms of greeting.
Well, she says in her little about the author that, you know, to keep stray cats out of her garden, she invites them in for salmon and cream. But you'd think the cats would have mentioned to her that they are lactose intolerant.
Maybe that's why they go away. There's Puffin, a black female with white forepaws and nose. No mention of what Puffin did. Apparently Puffin wasn't that interesting. There's Lloyd, Fancy Man. Lloyd, I'm guessing that Lloyd was his name that he was given, but Fancy Man is what he wanted to call himself. All grey, very affectionate, initiated me into the mysteries of intimacy.
Oh no! Oh God! You need to call somebody. We need to get SVU on the horn right now.
This bit was meant to be really short. I think we'll keep on this until the end of the show. I think.
Well, we're almost at the end because we're almost coming up to the word.
We're going to talk about Andrew Zimmer's Bizarre Foods, but we'll do that next time.
We can do the next time. You can.
There is Kara, all white of uncertain age. She's feral, mostly a source of curses and abusive terms.
I can't help but think that we found somebody who's like the conspiracy people. Like, I kind of want to have her on the show now. Just let her go. She's like, really, tell us more. Why do you think that this is the truth?
There's Cow, who's black and white, an oral historian of legends and myths. There's Bathava, grey or perhaps white. You don't even know what colour it was, and then you talked to the cat enough to give this information. She advised on numbers and other esoteric wisdom, as well as the protocol of food offerings.
Numbers like the Book of Numbers, like do cats have numerology?
I'm guessing math.
And 1 was the number of the kitten.
Then there's Beetle, all black, once feral, who returned to human mentoring after experiencing a call when he was offered food by a human. Apparently, this is a mystical thing that if you can't, if they feel like they should mentor you, they will.
I see.
There's Aberystwyth. In Aberystwyth. Where the fuck did they go? They went from New York to Aberystwyth. It was like Toronto, London, whatever the fuck that is.
How many
Jerusalem,
cities
New
did
York.
she talk to cats in?
She lists the cities the cats are from. You got London and Jerusalem and New York, and then suddenly Aberystwyth, which is a small town in Wales.
Well, you know.
But you know, big city, big city, big city, big city, big city, Wales.
Because the sheep.
But Margaret, Orange and White, historian of. What the fuck is that one?
Let me see.
Concatenation.
I don't even know what that's supposed to be.
And then there's Sophie, or Sophie, pure white, direct descendant of Timaeus. I'm guessing Timaeus is like a Catwoman emperor.
This is kind of like that part of not the Odyssey. It's kind of like the part of the Iliad where they just list all the different people who brought ships and how many ships they brought and.
Oh yeah, and now she's got a history of cat interaction with humans and how they have basically been running human history, but how cats do not believe in the term history because people should live in the present rather than be obsessed with the past. Cats brought the concept of music to humankind. In cat myth, music is said to be a manifestation of the goddess Mao, and cats, unlike humanity, have always had music. Wow! That apparently doesn't exist. The cat screeching.
Mm-hmm. Oh boy! So definitely check this book out if you have an opportunity to do so. You can probably find it on Amazon pretty cheap, I reckon, even if you use the US.
That Pythagoras had a cat mentor is considered by cats to be certain. Her name was Hermestris Magistra.
Oh, I thought you were going to say her name was Pythagoras. Get it? So, ask your cats tonight if they've heard about this. Maybe they'll give you some intimate mentoring.
Yeah, she's got a whole section on how to speak cats and everything.
We should get on that in another episode.
Now, I'm going to try and get it like a sentence. I'm going to try to speak it just to amuse you, everyone. Okay, I'm going to try and speak this. This is, I believe this line is, Minnow is lying in her basket. She speaks softly to her kittens. Meow, Minnow, yow, pra, meow, 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 meow.
You sound like the puppet on Mr. Rogers, who could only say a few words of English, but everyone's like meow 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 share. Meow, 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 friend. That's what you sound like.
I maintain I only know roughly how she pronounces these things because I saw 14 TV recently. Seriously, dude. I can't remember what episode of 14 TV is, but there's an episode where they interview this one and she does
in her basket, dread Cthulhu lies purring.
She teaches. Interviews with her. She's translating stuff, and she does like a lullaby. Not a lullaby. She tells a bedtime story to some cats and things. And
a real live crazy person. And I don't mean somebody who's mentally ill. I mean someone that's just crazy, because there's a difference if you're mentally ill and you go and you get diagnosed. They say, well, you have this mental illness according to the book. Well, that's fine, but some people are not mentally ill, but they are really crazy.
The back has this massive list of comments. First one is the author.
That's cheating.
There is no word for truth in cat is already well known. What is less generally known is the implications, little appreciated, is that there is also no word for lie. Unless, of course, and this must always be borne in mind, cats are lying to us in this matter. For fuck's sake. You got a comment by Dr. Alexander McKay, Senior Research Fellow, International Institute Leiden. Don't know what you're researching though. Then you got another doctor, and then you got some guy who's a senior lecturer of Oriental and African Studies, who says that sociolinguistics will never be the same.
How drunk was he at the time?
Then you got Dr. Irving Finkel says that spoken cat is a major contribution, I'm guessing, to the world of drugs.
Then you've got two that are in Italian.
Yeah.
You've got one in German. The Daily Mail says, an amazing new finding.
The Times says, good grief.
Speak to your cat today.
Now, una prima rudimenta grammatica della Mindusfin. I think this were roughly translated as the first basic grammatic book about speaking to cats,
Which is technically the truth.
It is, but it's not the sort of thing you put on the back as one of the comment review bits.
Like, this is a book written of words.
And I can work out even less German than I can Italian.
It's
roughly.
probably got something to do with it.
And just from the couple of words I can work out, it seems to be saying pretty much the same thing. So yeah, Spoken Cat is...
Check it out. It's your bookstore today.
It's fucking amazing.
Well, speaking of spoken English, I have the dictionary here, and since you're here, I get to pick which page.
Okay.
I pick page 392. Because we're actually recording this on Monday because we have to hurry up and stop because time party.
We were gonna have food.
Well, we can make it's spaghetti meatballs. You can make it while we're watching them.
What are two?
1.
11.
6.
Lost.
Lost. We're lost.
I never saw the show.
Me either. I can't mean to, but we'll cover that next week.
Yeah, and we'll also be talking about Andrew Zimmern's Bizarre Foods.
Yay! Because he ate bugs, and who doesn't like to watch other people eat bugs?
Love Andrew Zimmern. He's great.
But anyway, this has been Lesbian Talk, episode 25, and I'm sure we'll find a really great title for it. Until then, I've been not Dima Dahagan, because you have been, and who have you been?
Someone is speaking cat.
Pretty much. We'll see you next time, everybody.
Why are you waving?
I don't know, it's automatic.